Hello everybody. So this video is a Patreon request, a Patreon sponsored video from one of our members who, from what I understand, got into the per trade, you may remember, that was Hyperliquid, the Hyperliquid DAT, which has been performing extremely well since I first covered it on the channel. This time proposing another company for analysis, and I had a bunch of criticism, and I was skeptical about the name, and I'll walk you through all of my skepticism, and then I calculated the MNAV, and when I calculated the MNAV, I told myself, Mr. Market is entirely crazy, because all of the potential defects that this company has, all of the issues this company has, is more than priced in, because they're trading at a 0.17 MNAV, which is crazy cheap. The market is absolutely sleeping on this one. Now, of course, when you have a DAT, digital asset treasury company, it all depends on the token that they hold, and that's kind of like I guess a light red flag, or I guess high risk. I should say high risk. They own the RAIN token. So and before I'm gonna begin talking about the RAIN token, then I'll talk about the company. But before I do that, let me give you the ticker symbol of the company. It's Enlivex. Enlivex. This is a company, it's a 12-year-old company. They're from Israel. Probably didn't help with the stock price. A lot of Israeli stocks have actually dropped quite a bit the past few months because of the Middle East conflict. This stock has been stuck in a valley of despair for 5 or 6 years. But really, if you go back, the valley of despair is 12 years for this stock. And it's a biotech. And like many biotech, it's high risk, and they eventually lose a lot of money. Biotech is super high risk. But like a lot of DATs, I think they use the DAT strategy as a way to save the company. And this is the whole Saylor playbook, which is Saylor at MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy was a mostly dead software stock left for dead by the market. And then you became a DAT and you reinvigorated it. But of course, this has another layer of risk, because they didn't buy Bitcoin. They didn't buy a layer 1 like Solana or Hype. They bought a high octane token, which is the RAIN token. So let's talk about the token. Let's note that right now, even though the stock has not reacted whatsoever to the movement of the RAIN token has actually doubled, trading at slightly under a penny to a penny and a half. So this stock has nearly this token has nearly doubled in a matter of a few days. But we are way out on the risk curve. Token number 201 on CoinMarketCap. Actually, a surprisingly high. I'll get to that in a second, but surprisingly high. $8 billion market cap for that token. The token ran a lot already, and quick conversation with AI, there's a lot of criticism from AI telling me, apparently only 81% of wallets control the supply. So when you have so much concentration, that means that someone can dump, and if you dump, then the stock price can be halved in a matter of no time. Also, as you know on this channel, I don't like to chase. And so in 3 days, the token has doubled. So the token itself has ran too hard, too fast. But the stock has not reacted whatsoever. The token doubled. The stock has been flattish, to say the least. It really hasn't moved. So this investment, if you were to consider this investment, that would have to be a very tiny position, a sleeper position. You set it and you forget it type of position. Definitely higher risk. The highest risk, actually, of all of the DATs I've covered on the channel, this is probably the highest risk one. But again, are you compensated from that risk at a 0.17 MNAV? Yeah, you're literally paying pennies on the dollars. I guess a dime and a half on the dollar is what you're paying on this company. So I'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about RAIN. So RAIN is the government's token, and also the token to pay the fees to build and trade on the RAIN app, the RAIN platform. What is the RAIN platform? The RAIN platform is a prediction market platform, but just like Hyperliquid, it's a platform with an API and an SDK. It's a platform for other platforms. So it's a platform on which other websites are traded, and there's very few of them. They have a list of 4 of them, but you can create betting apps. Oh, I have it backwards here. You can create betting apps on the RAIN platform. I still have it backwards. Sorry about that. Okay. So if you go on their website, these are all of the apps built on RAIN. So you can build different apps on top of RAIN. RAIN is the underlying protocol. So for example, the risk markets betting app. Then there is Pred, which is the RAIN betting app. Then you have blackjack markets, currents, speed market, and the foundation behind the protocol is sponsoring many of these super dedicated betting markets. And I'll show you an example of one that seems to have a little bit of activity on it, just a random one. This is a betting market called blackjack markets, where I guess you can bet on cards. So very much a casino. Of course, make no mistake, right? Prediction markets, there are a reason why they're so controversial, because people compare it to casinos, people compare it to betting, etc. But clearly, so if you go on this website, which is blackjack.market.com or something like that. That's the Blackjack Market is the name of the app, right? It's a crypto app. Of course, to bet on that, you bet with stables, but you got to pay the fees with the RAIN token. And here's where it gets interesting. This app is built on the RAIN app. And then the RAIN app is built on Arbitrum. And then Arbitrum itself is built on Ethereum. So layer 1 is Ethereum, on which a layer 2 is built, which is Arbitrum, on which a layer 3 is built, which is the RAIN platform. And then you can create your own branded website. You can develop, as a developer, you can develop your own betting website on the RAIN platform. And of course, why would you do that as a developer? Because you would be getting the fees of people using your platform to bet. And why would everybody with RAIN token win? Because they actually buy back 50% of the fees. 50% of the fees is entirely dedicated to buying back the RAIN token. So the trading fee, whenever you place a bet with RAIN, you have to pay a 5% trading fee of the market volume, and that fee is divided in 2. It's divided in a buyback to make the value of a token go up, and then it's divided in money to pay the creators of these websites, like blackjack markets, right? The creator of that website is going to get some of that burned fee, and of course, if they own the RAIN token, they support the RAIN protocol, and the protocol is designed to go up because it is deflationary, because half the fees are burnt. Very similar to a buyback. It's similar to what Solana does. It is inferior to what Hype does. Hype buys back 99%. 99%. This is half. It seems like the standard in a lot of crypto is half. Now, as far as the RAIN platform itself, you can see it's seen pretty stellar exponential adoption since it got launched. It's still early, but it's getting adopted. And I've seen a few AIs tell me it was like a top 3 app out there. So clearly, there's a few things going for this app, but again, we are way out on the risk curve. I mean, think about that. We are apps built on top of an app, built on top of an app, built on top of Ethereum. So, and Ethereum, as you know, is in my view not the hottest blockchain. So lots of risks out there, right? Lots of risks. But this is where the suck-on thing comes in, which is so now that you see all of these risks, and all of these edge scenarios, possible risk, think about the exploits that can happen on this when you look at all of the different things. So many risks, right? So investing in the RAIN token is one reason, and I think one would be quick to say, no, I'm not interested in getting the RAIN token. It's too risky on the risk curve. What about the RAIN token? 5 times cheaper. The RAIN token 5 times cheaper is Enlivex Therapeutics. So the company has 5 million of cash. They have no debt. Their market cap is 195 million. So enterprise value is 200 million. And they own 79.5 billion RAIN token at 1.4 penny. So they own 1.13 billion worth of rain for a company whose enterprise value is 200 million. This translates to an MNAV of 0.17, and I am not at all talking about the value of the biotech, which is in addition to Enlivex. Now the biotechs, the market was giving them no credit whatsoever. In fact, the biotech was likely valued at I don't know, I'm going to say a random number, probably 30 million, something like that, right? 30 million was the value of the biotech. And again, the move to save the company was to do a PIPE and raise $212 million to buy the prediction market token. That's how they've bet the company to save the company, because the market was only assigning very little value to their therapeutics business. And this has to do with the current market that we're in, where any risk capital, nobody's interested in putting money in risky biotechs right now. That's just the very unfortunate nature of the game. But here's the thing. I am absolutely flabbergasted, is the word I want to use, at an MNAV of 0.17, and also a stock that I guess moved a little bit, but if you look, it has barely moved. It has barely moved. It moved from what? From like 60 cents to 80 cents when the token doubled. It has barely moved. So this stock has been pretty much left for dead, pretty much undiscovered, and that's the only explanation I have as to why it's trading at 0.17. I think it's crazy. I think it's too cheap. I mean, it's not logical that it would trade at 1.7. I understand that you would trade below MNAV. Maybe the market is expecting that a lot of losses will continue to happen with the therapeutics business. But to me, this is too oversold to me. So when I see that MNAV, it literally shuts down all of the criticism that I was going to have for the RAIN token. And I already told you some about the criticism, but my criticism is very clear, right? It's a layer 3 for RAIN protocol. It could even be construed as a layer 4. At least the revenue layer is a layer 4. So think about that. But we are very abstracted from the Ethereum blockchain. It's built on Ethereum. Many people argue Ethereum is undervalued, and that's mostly because they value Ethereum based on total value locked. I think Ethereum doesn't have a shot against Solana. So that's my second criticism. My third criticism, I was going to nitpick about the 50% going towards the buyback, saying that it is inferior to hype. And that would have been a nitpick, of course, because I like Solana. Solana also have a 50% buyback. But keep in mind the level of abstraction of a RAIN token. I mean, we are 3 layers above Ethereum. So you have ETH, then you have Arbitrum, then you have a RAIN token. So we're thrice removed from the Ethereum layer, and the Ethereum layer, of course, is not too hot right now. And then, of course, I was going to say a risky biotech. It's a risky biotech. Incidentally, at this point, you get the biotech entirely for free. And the CEO here talking, clearly the CEO is still a biotech CEO, clearly a clinical person, talking about their phase 2 trial. They're in a phase 2 trial for their macrophage reprogramming tech for osteoarthritis. Very interesting, trying to fight inflammation. To quote a comment I saw on Seeking Alpha, if they could actually crack this, the total addressable market would be huge. But the market is giving them no credit on them actually cracking that. And so this is probably at least a 5 years out type of thing if they were to get any type of FDA approval. So, like biotech, it's trading on potential TAM if they ever get approved. I think it's interesting. I think it's just as interesting as any other biotech. There's tons of biotechs out there who try to have this type of impact. But of course, this is kind of more of a moonshot. And the market has no desire right now for moonshot biotechs, right? If you look at ARKG's, Cathie Wood ARKG ETF, you look at the performance over the long run, it hasn't been very good. The market, unfortunately, has no desire for companies that take a lot of risk. And this is shown, of course, in the MNAV for this stock at a 0.17. So not only they have the biotech risk, could be huge if they actually achieve some sort of successful phase 3 trial. It could be huge. Most likely going to stay in a valley of despair for the longest time. But the fact that the market is giving it a 0.17 MNAV valuation on the RAIN token, which in the market right now is worth 0.014, right? So it's worth double what it used to be worth. It's worth actually five to six times. Let's call it 6 times. It's worth 6 times what the market is valuing that within the DAT. That makes absolutely no sense to me. Now there's a few theoretical dynamics I also want to say. And I'll let you know. I'll make a buy announcement on the Patreon if I take a gamble on this or not. But to me, this is obviously much closer to a gamble. This is way out on the risk curve. This is also way too cheap. But this is also very theoretical. This is very theoretical because the biggest holder of RAIN is essentially Enlivex, right? They're essentially the biggest holder of RAIN, and so. You have to realize that even though I don't think they intend to sell the RAIN token, but if they were to actually sell that token in any meaningful amount, they would probably crash. They would probably crash the value of the token. So this is also why this is very theoretical. And you would have to hope that a company like Enlivex, is it Enlivex? Yeah, and Enlivex. You would have to hope that they wouldn't do any form of meaningful sell. So in many ways, that MNAV is very, very cheap, but the value locked into the RAIN token that this company owns can only be unlocked way into the future, maybe 5 years from now. And this is the same for the biotech business. If there is any value to be realized from that biotech business, it will be like 5 years from now. So way out on the risk curve. But what a selling point is this MNAV. I may take a gamble on it and buy a little bit of it. I'll let you know on the Patreon if I do. And this is going to remain a Patreon exclusive, as these sponsored videos tend to be. So let's thank the Patreon member who suggested that company. I was very pleased when I calculated that number. Very pleased to see that. There's a lot of deals in the market. The market is giving 0 credit to DATs right now. 0 credit. It is not just strategy who is undervalued, right? It's not just strategy. It's not just forward industry with Solana. A lot of other companies are greatly undervalued. The market is sleeping on this. And it's just giving insane valuation to SanDisk or whatever. But this is entirely ignored by the market. Anyways, this was not investment advice. This is not financial advice. This is only entertainment. Only entertainment. RAIN token is entertainment. Probably too. It's a prediction market. So no investment advice ever on this channel, as you know. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. And thank you for following me on Patreon. If you've seen this video, that means you're on Patreon. So thank you for that. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.